Good afternoon to all. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to reduce energy usage in commercial buildings. And for that, I'm using one of the examples of a resort that we have recently retrofit in Fujairah as a case study, as an example of what can be done across many different types of buildings. This is in Aqah, where we have done an evaluation of the potential for energy efficiency. I mean, following more or less the same story that Rashid was telling us a little bit earlier, we need to first start by understanding how and where the energy is being used. We then want to identify what are the possibilities of reduction through energy efficiency actions that we can take. And our solution for this particular case was a 5-year shared savings contract. So what does it mean? It means that we as an ESCO are the ones actually investing on all of the different actions that are needed to be implemented to reduce the energy, and we are collecting throughout 5 years a proportion of the savings that we are able to actually generate in this particular hotel. So this means that for the customer there is no risk attached, neither an investment required, because we take both the technical risk and the financial risk as well. We provide all of the different facility improvements at no initial cost. We take care not only of the investment in the actions that we are doing, but also of the operations and ongoing maintenance of all of the equipment that we bring. There are no credit risks attached because we take all of that into ourselves. And speaking a little bit about the scope of how we get there, so we do, as I said, an analysis of the current energy usage. We do an implementation of the actions that are going to be required to reduce this energy usage. And we undergo an operations and maintenance phase where we actually operate them to achieve the savings that we are expecting. So only by the combination of these three can we actually achieve the purpose that we are set for. So I want just to share with you some quick facts about this particular project. So as I said earlier, a shared savings energy performance contract where we take all of the technical and commercial risks and we deploy all of the necessary solutions without any initial investment. It's a 5-year contract which has at the start also an implementation phase. So after everything is implemented, we are collecting a share of the savings throughout 5 years. In this case, there are of course other cases where other timelines will be there. We started this audit process in the third quarter of 2020. We finished implementation, or we did implementation, throughout the first quarters of 2021. And we enter operations in September of 2021. So you can see that it's kind of a lengthy process ahead of it before we actually start. I should also say that throughout this process, the customer is already collecting savings. Because every time we do an action, the result of that action is already in the benefit of this case. So some details of this facility. It's essentially a resort type hotel. And some of the actions that we did there include an energy control system to manage how and where the energy is being used. Hot water system, so we replaced the existing diesel boilers with a renewable source to supply hot water. Chilled water network optimization, so a lot of the work that we do is not necessarily replacing existing equipment, but rather optimizing the systems that are already there. GRMS, a gas flow management system, which is of course very important for any hotel. We swapped some of the existing chillers to get a better efficiency out. We installed individual meters to be able to understand where the energy and how much energy is being used in each of the main systems. We did also water improvements, so we kind of reduced the water that is being used. And we did some demand control ventilation actions. So this is essentially to optimize the air side of the cooling. This is a summary of everything that we have done. You see there in the picture some of the actual pictures of the systems being installed there. You can see that there are actions where the savings are not that big, where there are others where the savings are actually a little bit bigger. But for an ESCO like us, the end result is the combination of them all. So it's not about saving a lot on each one, it's saving a little on a lot of different actions, because that aggregates for a total saving that is quite significant. And in this particular case, we are talking about a significant savings in terms of electricity, water, and also diesel. So we have saved across the three main utilities that this hotel has been used in the past. I want to focus in one particular system just to give you an overview. So, as I said, this hotel was heating water for the guests using boilers powered by diesel, which is a very inefficient and very carbon-intensive way. We have replaced that with a solar thermodynamic system. So the objectives are to increase the renewable percentage or the renewable portion of that hotel and to reduce a very carbon-intensive source. The solution that we have implemented is instead a renewable solution to achieve the same objective but using far less energy, and to replace a carbon-intensive fuel source with a much more renewable fuel source. The impact of it is that in a very short period of time for a payback, you get a significant portion of savings. Now, this always for us is very important because we need to be doing systems that are technically feasible, but also economically feasible. So we don't want to deploy systems and solutions that will take a long time to be paid back. We want things that can fit within the shortest contract period that we can have. And this is one of these examples that we have done here. And these are some images so that you can see how the system actually looks like installed. So all of the panels that you see in the bottom essentially collect energy from the air, translate that energy into the hot water that is stored in the tanks that you see above, that are then supplied to the hotel. Another system that I want to focus is this energy control system. That is essentially a software system that collects data from every main consumer of energy in any building, and by analyzing it, understands where are opportunities for further optimization and to increase the savings that we are reaching. So it is essentially a software tool that collects data in real time from the site, digests it, analyzes it, and shows it in a way that both the operating teams can take actions to lead to additional savings, but also reports on the performance of the overall systems to the senior management. So that gives you kind of an operational perspective, but also a reporting one. This is, of course, important to measure the social impact of what we are doing. So we are doing this for a commercial purpose, to save energy, to save cost, but this is only part of the story. And here you can see the impact that one project can have. Now, if we do 10, 100, 1,000 of these, we can see the multiplication effect that this impact has. And this is, I think, why it's so important to do these kind of actions. It is because we are achieving a lot of benefits that are beyond the pure economical benefit of a given project. Now, a little bit about us. As I said, we are an ESCO. These are some of the customers that we work with, been active in the market for about 9 years. And this is a little bit about us. So Taka, one of the ESCOs present in the market, we do essentially energy performance contracts where we help customers reduce energy on their existing buildings.